Have you ever seen animals so enormous they make dinosaurs look average? Creatures so mind-blowingly massive, so bizarrely built, they seem like they've stormed straight out of a sci-fi blockbuster and into our reality. In this video, you're not just watching wildlife, you're entering a world of jaw-dropping biological giants. First up, Laong, the legendary crocodile whose monstrous size turned him into a living myth. People didn't just stare, they gasped. Scientists were stunned. And when the footage surfaced, the internet exploded. But that's just the beginning. Wait until you meet a crayfish. Yes, a crayfish that looks like it came from another planet. This isn't your backyard stream critter. It's a one-of-a-kind beast that defies every expectation. And there's more. Much more. From deep-sea terrors to land beasts so massive they seem impossible. These are the creatures you'd never believe existed unless they were caught on camera. So buckle up. What you're about to see is no nature documentary, it's nature unleashed. Big Jake wasn't just a horse, he was a living legend. A gentle giant who didn't just walk into history, he stomped into it. We've always been fascinated by horses, the speed of a racehorse, the power of a hauler, but Big Jake? He was something else entirely. He didn't just impress, he redefined what we thought was possible. In 2012, Big Jake shattered records to become the tallest horse on the planet. He stood at a jaw-dropping 6 feet 10 inches tall at the withers and weighed a staggering 2,500 pounds. That's heavier than a black rhino and taller than most NBA players. He wasn't just big, he was unforgettable. And here's the twist. Big Jake wasn't from some rare, towering breed like the famous Shires. No, he was a Belgian draft horse, known more for raw pulling power than lofty height. But Jake? He broke the mold. Even among his powerful peers, he stood in a league of his own. His story began in Wisconsin like any other foal. But when he was born, something was immediately different. He weighed nearly 200 pounds. That's double the size of a typical newborn. And from that moment on, Jake never stopped growing. Day after day, year after year, Jake defied expectations. He grew bigger, stronger, and somehow more lovable with every inch. He wasn't just a marvel to look at, he had a heart just as large as his frame. And let's talk about that size because it came with a legendary appetite. Jake consumed 2 full buckets of grain and an entire bale of hay every single day. That's enough to make any farmer sweat. But no one ever minded because Jake gave something back. Joy. Despite his overwhelming size, Big Jake was gentle, calm, and deeply affectionate. He loved people. He loved attention. And people loved him back. But in July 2021, at the age of 20, the world lost this incredible soul. Big Jake passed away, but his story didn't end there. Far from it. His name lives on as a symbol of wonder. A towering reminder that real-life legends walk among us. You don't need fantasy or fiction to be amazed. Just look at Big Jake. And if you thought he was unbelievable, wait until you meet the next giant. The Goliath beetle, a name that sounds mythical. A creature that looks otherworldly. But make no mistake, this isn't a villain from a sci-fi film. This is one of nature's real-life titans, hidden deep within the emerald jungles of Central and Western Africa lives an insect so massive, so powerful, it redefines what it means to be a bug. Meet the Goliath beetle, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the insect kingdom. How big is it? Try this on for size. Up to 6 inches long. Weighing in at 3.5 ounces. That's heavier than a mouse. Yes, a beetle as heavy as a hamster crawling across a branch. Imagine seeing that in the wild. It's not just surprising, it's almost unbelievable. But here's the twist. Despite their monstrous appearance, Goliath beetles are surprisingly peaceful. Their favorite meals? Sweet tree sap and ripe fruit. They're gentle foragers, using their powerful mandibles to chew through tough plant matter. But when rival males cross paths, everything changes. Armed with Y-shaped horns, male Goliath. Beetles clash like armored tanks, battling for dominance over food, territory, or mates. These beetle brawls are intense and brutal. And when it comes to brute strength, nothing in the insect world comes close. How strong are they? A single Goliath beetle can lift 840 times its own body weight. That's the equivalent of a human lifting 6 double-decker buses. Just let that sink in. But strength comes with a price. Their remarkable size and power have drawn attention, and not the good kind. Collectors around the world now see Goliath beetles as trophies, and the illegal pet trade is booming. Pair that with the relentless destruction of their rainforest home, and these gentle giants face a future that's far from secure. Yet even in the face of danger, life fights back. Female Goliath beetles, though smaller, are champions of survival. Each one can lay up to 100 eggs, each one a chance for the next generation to rise. Their larvae, thick and worm-like, grow up to 4 inches long, spending months underground feeding and preparing for their transformation. From egg to beetle, the journey takes 2 full years. 2 years of growing, surviving, adapting just to emerge as one of the rainforest's most iconic creatures. The Goliath beetle is more than just big. It's a symbol of strength, resilience, and the sheer weirdness and wonder of evolution. But, believe it or not, this isn't even the most jaw-dropping creature on our list. Because waiting just around the corner is a giant from the sea. A prehistoric powerhouse that defies belief. The leatherback turtle is next, and trust me, you don't want to miss what this ocean titan is capable of. The leatherback turtle, a living relic, an ancient giant. A quiet ruler of the ocean whose story sounds less like reality and more like a myth passed down through time. Beneath the crashing waves of the world's vast oceans, a true marvel glides silently through the deep. The leatherback turtle, the largest turtle on Earth and one of nature's most unstoppable survivors. How big are we talking? Try 7 feet long and over 2,000 pounds of pure evolutionary engineering. Imagine a creature the size of a compact car alive swimming past you in the open sea. It's not just breathtaking. It's surreal. But here's the real story. The leatherback turtle isn't just about size. It's about endurance. About survival against every imaginable odd. These incredible beings have been cruising Earth's oceans for over 100 million years. That means they swam alongside the dinosaurs. They survived asteroid impacts, ice ages, and mass extinctions. Where others vanished, they endured. And their journey? It's nothing short of heroic. Leatherbacks are marathon swimmers. They travel farther than almost any other reptile or even vertebrate on the planet. From the icy waters of Norway and Canada to the tropical shores of New Zealand, South America, and the Caribbean. They navigate entire oceans, driven by instinct and an unbreakable will. Some swim 10,000 miles or more in a single migration. No map, no GPS. Just millennia of memory encoded in their DNA. They dive deeper than most submarines, holding their breath for over an hour, plunging into depths of up to 4,000 feet in search of jellyfish, their favorite prey. And yet, despite this legacy of survival, their greatest threat is us. Pollution, plastic waste, boat strikes, illegal poaching, and disappearing nesting beaches are pushing the leatherback toward the edge. These gentle giants who've conquered time itself may fall victim to the modern world unless we act. Still, there is hope. Every nesting female leaves behind up to 100 eggs, each one a tiny beacon of survival. And when those hatchlings scramble toward the waves, they carry with them the legacy of their ancient ancestors and the future of their kind. The leatherback turtle is more than an animal. It's a testament to nature's power. a living monument to resilience, grace, and the fragile beauty of our oceans. And as incredible as they are, there's still one more beast that may just top them all. Get ready to meet the next colossal creature, because the world's biggest surprises are far from over. But the story of the leatherback turtle doesn't end there. In fact, one leatherback made history in a way no one could have predicted. These turtles are record-shattering marvels capable of diving to over 4,200 feet, deeper than any other turtle species on Earth. They can hold their breath for up to 85 minutes, navigating crushing depths and frigid temperatures with ease. They are the deep-sea champions, built for endurance, equipped for survival. But in September 1988, tragedy met awe on the shores of northwest Wales. A massive male leatherback had washed ashore lifeless, yet unforgettable. When researchers arrived, they were stunned. This turtle measured over 9 feet across its flippers and tipped the scales at a jaw-dropping 960 kilograms, that's more than 2,100 pounds. It was the largest leatherback turtle ever recorded in human history, even in death. It was majestic, a monument to the sheer power and scale of the ocean's hidden giants. Most large turtles are rarely displayed in museums, as their preserved bodies often leak oil over time. But this specimen was too extraordinary to ignore. It was painstakingly preserved and eventually placed on display at the National Museum of Wales in Cardiff. And there, on February 16, 1990, the public came face to face with a sea creature so massive, so unbelievable, it felt like something from another world. It didn't just teach science, it inspired awe. It reminded us that the deep is still full of secrets, and that even in the 20th century, we are still discovering new legends. This incredible leatherback didn't swim in vain. It left behind a legacy, a powerful visual reminder of the greatness that still exists beneath the waves, of how much we still have to learn, of how easily these giants can vanish if we don't protect them. Because here's the truth: for every known titan of the ocean, there may be another just waiting to be discovered. And speaking of ocean giants, the next one may be the most mind-blowing yet. They call him Big Daddy, and once you see him, you'll realize everything you thought you knew about size is about to be shattered. Big Daddy, the legendary giant of the deep beneath the soft, glowing light of a darkened aquarium, one creature stopped time itself. Visitors didn't just look, they stared, some in awe, some in disbelief. Was it real? Yes, but it looked like something out of a sea monster myth. This was no fantasy. This was Big Daddy, a real-life Japanese spider crab who shattered expectations and rewrote the record books. In his prime, Big Daddy didn't just captivate, he made history. With legs stretching an astonishing 10 feet across, he was officially the widest crustacean ever kept in captivity. And he held a second world record, the longest leg ever recorded on a crab, reaching nearly 5 feet from base to tip. Just imagine it, one massive crab, arms spread wide like scaffolding from another world. So big, you'd have to step back just to take him all in. But here's the twist: Big Daddy was never meant to be a legend. Originally, he was headed to a fish market in Japan. Just another catch, just another meal. His story should have ended on a dinner plate. Until fate intervened. A representative from Sea Life Blackpool saw what others missed, not just meat, but majesty, and gave him a second chance. Big Daddy was rescued from the cooking pot and flown across continents to the UK. In 2013, he arrived at his new home, a specially engineered cold water tank custom-built for a giant, and there he thrived. He was hand-fed by keepers who adored him. Divers entered his tank, not to fear him, but to clean his sprawling, barnacle-covered shell by hand. removing parasites and treating him with the tenderness of a treasured elder. This wasn't just care. It was reverence. Big Daddy became more than an exhibit. He became a symbol of resilience, survival, and the incredible strangeness that still lurks in Earth's unexplored corners. But even the greatest legends must one day rest. In 2016, after reaching the remarkable age of around 80 years, Big Daddy passed away peacefully. His movements slowed in his final days, retreating quietly from the world he had mesmerized for so long. And yet, his legacy lives on. In the wild, Japanese spider crabs like Big Daddy haunt the dark depths off Honshu Island, Japan, lurking in crevices, surviving near hydrothermal vents. Each spring they journey closer to shore to spawn, using their spindly spiked legs to scrape algae, crack mollusks, and scavenge whatever the deep offers. They are quiet, patient titans, masters of survival in the abyss. Big Daddy wasn't just a crab. He was a reminder that even in silence and shadow, the ocean still hides giants. And if you thought he was impressive, brace yourself. Our journey isn't over, because there's one more behemoth lurking just beyond the surface, bigger, bolder, and more unbelievable than anything you've seen so far. Stay tuned. What comes next will leave you absolutely speechless. Hercules, the largest big cat on Earth. They say nature is full of surprises, but Hercules is something else entirely. This isn't just a big cat, he is the biggest. A towering, muscle-bound marvel that leaves visitors speechless the moment they see him. Not in the wilds of Africa, not in the jungles of Asia, but right in South Carolina, USA, at the Myrtle Beach Safari. Meet Hercules, a liger, the rare hybrid born from a male lion and a female tiger. And when we say giant, we mean it. Hercules stands 1.25 meters tall at the shoulder, stretches a staggering 3.33 meters in length, and weighs over 418 kilograms, nearly half a ton. That's bigger than any lion or tiger that has ever lived in recorded history. You don't just see Hercules. You feel his presence like a living force of nature. And with great size comes a massive appetite. Hercules devours more than 13 kilograms of meat every single day. That's about the weight of a 2-year-old child washed down with gallons of water. His diet fuels a physique that would humble any predator on Earth. But Hercules isn't just about brawn, he's also full of fascinating quirks. Ligers like him inherit unique traits from both parents. They love swimming, a passion passed down from their tiger lineage. And they're surprisingly social and playful, a nod to their lion roots. But there's one trait that makes them even more unusual. They grow beyond what nature typically allows. Why? Scientists believe it's because of the way growth-regulating genes behave in hybrids. It's as if nature forgets to hit the brakes. Letting ligers grow and grow, far beyond the limits of their parents. But not all is majestic in the world of hybrids. Life as a liger can be as challenging as it is extraordinary. While Hercules lives in comfort and care, many ligers suffer behind closed doors. They face a higher risk of organ failure, neurological issues, arthritis, and even cancer. And almost all male ligers are sterile, caught in a strange biological limbo. Female ligers can reproduce, but the ethical questions around that possibility are deeply troubling. Because here's the hard truth. The breeding of ligers is controversial. Animal welfare advocates argue that these hybrids are often created not for science, but for spectacle, bred for the wow factor. Not their well-being. While responsible reserves like Myrtle Beach Safari provide proper care, unlicensed facilities have been exposed for exploiting these animals for profit, using them in photo ops, shows, and exotic pet promotions. And that's what makes Hercules so important. He's not just a legend. He's a mirror reflecting both the awe of nature and the consequences of human interference. Because while Hercules appears majestic, content, and deeply loved, his story forces us to ask a critical question. Where do we draw the line between curiosity and compassion? Between marvel ... and manipulation? Hercules is a once-in-a-lifetime animal, undeniably stunning. But as we admire him, we must also respect the balance of nature and the responsibility we carry as stewards of its wonders. And if you thought this giant on land was impressive, just wait until you meet the next one. Because what's coming isn't a cat, but a titan of the sea, a creature that doesn't walk, but soars underwater with breathtaking grace. Get ready. The ocean's next marvel awaits. Giant manta ray, the gentle giants of the deep, beneath the shimmering surface of the open ocean, in the silent world of the blue, a shadow glides past, massive, elegant, almost otherworldly. You're not dreaming. You've just seen a giant manta ray. With wingspans reaching up to 29 feet across, these gentle titans are the largest rays on Earth and among the largest fish in the sea. One look at their sweeping, wing-like fins, and you'd be forgiven for thinking you've spotted a living spaceship. They don't swim so much as fly through water, each movement silent and fluid, graceful giants in a realm of chaos. For decades, scientists believed there was only one kind of manta ray. But the ocean held a secret. There are actually two: the giant manta ray, which roams the wide open oceans, and the reef manta, its slightly smaller cousin, who prefers to stay close to the coastlines and coral havens. Two species. One breathtaking legacy of wonder. But here's what's truly fascinating. Despite their enormous size, giant mantas eat some of the tiniest creatures on the planet, plankton. They feed by gliding with their vast mouths, agape, filtering the ocean's microscopic bounty using specially adapted cephalic lobes, a pair of funnel-like fins that guide food into their mouths like nature's own engineering marvel. You'll find these majestic creatures in tropical, subtropical, and temperate waters around the globe, from Indonesia to the Galapagos, from the Maldives to Mexico. They travel thousands of miles in search of food, riding ocean currents with the kind of grace no submarine could ever match. And though they're mostly solitary, sometimes they gather for feeding, for mating, or simply mysteriously together. Imagine dozens of these flying giants dancing in a slow-motion underwater ballet. For the lucky few divers who witness it, it's a moment you never forget. But as stunning as manta rays are, they carry a heavy burden of fragile future. Unlike most fish, which produce eggs by the thousands, a female manta gives birth to just one pup every 2 to 3 years. One. That means even minor threats can have catastrophic impacts on their population. And threats are rising. These gentle giants are increasingly being targeted by fisheries, hunted for their gill plates, used in certain traditional medicines despite having no proven benefit. They're also caught as bycatch in commercial nets, tangled and drowned in humanity's relentless pursuit of the ocean's riches. Add to that the growing damage from plastic pollution, climate change, and habitat degradation, and it's no wonder that mantas, once rulers of their open domain, are now listed as vulnerable and endangered. Some individuals have been known to live up to 40 years, navigating the same ocean highways for decades. But surviving that long is becoming harder, and the silent blue they once ruled is shrinking. Still, the manta ray endures, mysterious, elegant, resilient, but they need more than admiration. They need protection, because if we lose the manta, we don't just lose a creature, we lose a symbol of what the ocean can be. Vast, beautiful, alive. So the next time you imagine what wonders the deep might hold, remember the manta ray. Not just as a gentle giant, but as a call to action, a living reminder that the ocean's most incredible wonders aren't invincible. They're in our hands. And if you thought the manta ray was the peak of marine majesty, wait until you meet. What's next? a prehistoric predator lurking in the rivers, massive and misunderstood. Coming up, the alligator gaur. Subscriber pick. Power of the wild, just when you think you've seen everything nature has to offer, boom, one image changes everything. Today's subscriber pick delivers a scene so raw, so powerful, it feels like something straight out of a nature documentary. Captured deep in the untamed wild, this jaw-dropping moment freezes a crocodile mid-attack. Its monstrous jaws clamped around its prey with bone-crushing force. It's not just a photo. It's a glimpse into the brutal ballet of survival. You can almost feel it, the thrashing, the pressure, the sheer power of muscle and instinct locked in a primal struggle. This isn't CGI. This isn't staged. This is nature, unfiltered and unforgiving. The truth is, most people only hear about the strength of crocodiles. But this is the face-to-face reality. A prehistoric predator doing exactly what it was built to do. And it's humbling, terrifying, magnificent. What do you think the crocodile caught here? A fish? A bird? Something even bigger? And here's the real question. Would you dare to get this close to such a fearsome predator? Even with a camera between you? Drop your guesses in the comments below, and if you've captured something wild and jaw-dropping like this, send it in. You might just be featured next, because this show isn't just about the giants we find. It's about the ones you discover. But we're not done yet, not even close. If you thought crocodiles were intense, brace yourself. We're about to head somewhere unexpected, to the rivers and forests of Tasmania. Why? Because deep in those misty waters lives a creature so massive, so ancient, it hardly seems real. Up next, the Tasmanian giant freshwater crayfish, a colossal crustacean that turns everything you thought you knew about river life upside down. Stick around. This next giant is unlike anything you've ever seen. Lolong, the legend of the giant crocodile. There's something about giants that stirs the imagination. Maybe it's their size. Maybe it's the sense of ancient mystery they carry. But few giants have left a legacy as unforgettable or as tragic as Lolong. This was no ordinary crocodile. At 6.17 meters, 20 feet 3 inches long, and weighing more than 1,075 kilograms, Laong wasn't just big, he was the largest crocodile ever kept in captivity. A living fossil. A river god come to life. His legend began in 2011 in the quiet rural town of Benuan, Philippines. For months, something had been stalking the river. Livestock vanished. Whispers grew louder. Fear gripped the community. They spoke of a monster beneath the surface, one that might even be responsible for the deaths of missing villagers. Determined to protect their people, local officials launched a mission that felt more like a movie than real life. They brought in elite crocodile hunters from Palawan. What followed was 3 weeks of relentless pursuit, failed traps, and rising tension. Over 100 people, battling mud, mosquitoes, and fear, worked together to capture the beast. And then they got him. Laong was so powerful that at one point he broke free of his restraints, sparking chaos. It took dozens of men, steel cables, and unrelenting will to finally subdue him. He was estimated to be around 50 years old, a survivor of decades, droughts, storms, and shifting tides. And overnight, Laong became a national icon. He was moved to the Benuan Eco Park and Wildlife Center, where thousands flocked to witness the behemoth. Tourism boomed. The town, once paralyzed by fear, now thrived with pride. Laong became a symbol of resilience, strength, and wonder. But this tale of triumph would end in heartbreak. On February 10, 2013, just 18 months after his capture, Laong was found dead in his enclosure. Cause of death: pneumonia and cardiac arrest, worsened by stress and a fungal infection. Despite The best veterinary care, the stress of captivity had broken the giant. His death was a profound loss not just for the town that loved him, but for the world. It was a stark reminder that even the strongest creatures are not built for cages. Lolong's story is a legacy of awe and tragedy, a call to respect the giants of our world while they still roam free. Gaur, the silent titans of the forest. When we think of giants, our minds jump to elephants, rhinos, maybe giraffes. But hidden deep in the jungles of South and Southeast Asia is a creature so powerful, so massive, it feels almost prehistoric. Meet the gaur, the largest wild bovine on the planet, standing up to 10 feet tall at the shoulder. And weighing up to 1,600 kilograms, the gaur moves like a walking mountain. With its thick, curved horns and muscle-packed frame, it's a force of nature, equal parts beauty and brute strength. Yet, for all its power, the gaur is remarkably calm. Unlike its more aggressive cousin, the African buffalo, the gaur is a gentle titan. But don't mistake calm for weakness. When provoked, it becomes unstoppable. One legendary encounter tells of a tiger, the jungle's apex predator, who tried to bring down a lone gaur bull. The tiger didn't stand a chance. The gaur fought back with thunderous force, snapping the big cat's spine in two. It was a brutal reminder. Even kings can fall when they cross the wrong giant. Gaur herds roam through forests, grazing quietly, maintaining the ecological balance of their habitat. But like so many wild giants, they're under siege. Deforestation, poaching, shrinking habitats. As farms and roads stretch into their territories, gaurs are being squeezed out of existence. Today, they're classified as vulnerable, with populations declining across their range. They deserve better. The gaur might not have the fame of elephants or rhinos, but it belongs among nature's greats. Massive, mysterious, majestic. A creature that reminds us that the wild is still full of wonder, if we choose to protect it. Final message. Thank you for joining us on this journey through nature's most astonishing giants. From the deepest rivers to the densest jungles, the wild is full of stories, some triumphant, some tragic, but all unforgettable. If these creatures moved you, inspired you, or made you think twice about our role in nature, share this video. Leave a comment and subscribe. Because out there, in the shadows and depths, another giant is waiting to be discovered. Stay curious. Stay wild. See you in the next adventure.